I am impressed that Amazon somehow managed to make the most underwhelming and overwhelming shopping experience in recent years.
That's it. That's my intro.
I'm Amanda, you're watching Swell Entertainment, and today we are talking about Amazon Style, the newest edition of Amazon's brick and mortar experiments, because that's really what they are. I did not hear that Amazon was going to be opening up an in-person brick and mortar store. I heard about it from a Business Insider article that a journalist went to the store and reviewed it, and I found out that the store was here in LA. So naturally I was like, why not? Let's go over there. Let's see what this is all about. So I should point out mainly, I have not had the best experiences with shopping for clothing items on Amazon. I just haven't. Amazon is a massive retailer, and a lot of individual retailers and individual brands sell through Amazon. And then there's also fulfilled by Amazon, fulfilled by seller, all of that. There's a lot of people contributing to the products that you may end up getting on Amazon. And I just have not had a good experience with the items that I have bought from Amazon. The only one that I can consistently say I like the most and I have the best experience with and I use the most often is my Spider-Man suit. That is it. I usually buy other things from Amazon when I need cheap things for costumes, or when I don't have time to go to an actual store and I know that it's going to get here in time for something. So like my shoes for the Bridgerton ball event. There's little things that I'll buy when I need them, but it's not something where I'm like, I'm doing my shopping on Amazon. I just haven't had the best experience with the quality of items that I get from Amazon when I have tried to buy things that I like because, oh, I like what this looks like. Let me see if I like it in person. And usually I end up having to return the items because the quality is just not there. I do think the timing with the Amazon Style store is interesting because back in, April, May, they shut down all of their brick and mortar Amazon bookstores, including the one that I go to or I used to go to at the Century City Mall. And they shut those down very quickly. I think they were only open for like a remaining 3 weeks, like they announced it. And then 3 weeks later, all the stores were shut down. So the timing for setting up a brick and mortar store, I did think was a choice because it wasn't much longer. And obviously this took a little bit of time, I'm assuming, even with Amazon's fairly quick turnaround time and fairly quick adapting. This obviously is a retail store. It takes time, inventory, setup, hiring, moving, all of that. So I don't know the exact date of the Amazon store opening, but I'm fairly certain it was this month in June. But I figured, this might be a good idea for me to go and check this out, mainly because I think this might be the new norm. I do think that we are probably moving closer to an algorithm-based shopping experience if we do move closer into Web3 and the future of the internet and all of that. However, shopping, I don't know where we're going to go if we do end up going into a recession because it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But I figured me checking out the store would be a good idea as someone who has bought clothing items on Amazon and has not been happy with the quality, because obviously in-person store, I get to see the quality, I get to try on the quality and decide if I really do want to buy it without having to go through the hassle of waiting for shipping time, arriving, and then trying to figure out which store is going to let me send out my Amazon return, So it's an online retailer becoming an in-store retailer. I don't know why I'm explaining it like that, but that was my approach to this, okay? So I went to the store and I did take some B-roll. I felt very monitored and watched in this store, which could just be my own anxiety. Could always be that. I always have really weird anxiety in certain stores. I just do. It's just, maybe it's a residual from me working retail for so long. And so maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the fluorescent lights stressing me out. But I tried to take some B-roll, but it wasn't really working out because there was just so many sales associates. I was feeling a little awkward. B-roll isn't super great. And also the clips where I am talking in the vlog footage, I don't even know if I can play because of the music in the background because they were playing music everywhere. The overall vibe of the store is, I would say the setup's not much of a problem. It's very long and everything's not on top of each other, but kind of cramped. Throughout the entire store is the fitting room. So you've got fitting rooms pretty much lining all the walls. And so side wall, back wall, upstairs, fitting rooms. And what you do when you walk in, someone greeted me and said, "Hi, have you shopped with us before? Are you new? Have you tried this yet?" Scan the code, opens up the Amazon app on your phone, and what you do is none of the stuff that's on the floor is buyable. It's all available, but it's not buyable. Basically, it's just for deciding what you want. And then you scan the code that's on the hanger and you decide if you want to try it on or if you want to buy it right then and there. As you're shopping, you can keep adding things to your fitting room and they'll let you know when it's available for you to go to your fitting room. A lot of stuff I was not a fan of, but I'm very annoying with shopping. I'm very annoying. I like fashion. I'm not a very fashionable person. I'm not stylish. I would love to be. I try, but I'm bad at shopping for my height and I'm bad at shopping for my body shape. And I usually will plan out an outfit and then I'll be deciding, nah, I'd rather be more comfortable. And then I end up wearing very basic like t-shirts and things like that. You know what I like and what I don't like. And a lot of what was in the store was things that I didn't like or things that I did like and they just were not worth the cost or the quality was not up to snuff for me. Especially lately, I'm trying to be way more conscious about what pieces I buy and add to my wardrobe. The store is kind of like neon section with various like Y2K styles and things like that, which had some men's pieces and women's pieces and like gender neutral pieces right up at the front. And then it was the women's section, some influencer bits in the center, more women's, like adult women's, like younger styles and then higher end brands. And then men's and then athleisure was kind of in the back, but there was also a strip of athleisure, specifically Adidas and not Nike. What was it? Champion, like a couple of like athleisure styles right along the sides. I noticed there was a lot of baby blue, a lot of lighter blue colors. And you'll see that in the try on footage. I got like 2 pieces of that, but there was like an overwhelming amount of blue, which I thought was interesting. A dress they had on one of the mannequins at the front was a blue dress, which is one of the ones I tried on. I don't know if that's like a theme right now. I genuinely was expecting to see more green. When you walk into the store, you fill out like their little questionnaire of like, oh, do you want us to pick things out for you as well? So I picked my sizes, top size, bottom size, shoe size, all of that. They give you like several different designs of pieces of clothing and if you do or don't like something. So I answered those well enough. Then I just did my shopping. And because of that, I was like, you know what? I want to see if this will change the recommendations they have if I scan a men's item. So I picked like one Huff black t-shirt and I scanned that. And I scanned a handful of other items while I walked around. And as I was walking around, they kept giving me notifications letting me know that a room was ready for me. But I was still shopping. So I just kept saying, give it to someone else or pass it over. I did that a good 4 or 5 times and it kept asking. And then when I was ready, I said, I'll take the room. But then it said there was an error. And then it did go through after a few minutes and it gave me my room number. But as I was shopping, they were letting me know that even after I'd scanned one piece, that a room was ready for me. And when you scan the items, it pops up the listing of the item. And it shows like the sizes and if they have the sizes in stock, I believe at that store. So there was a bunch of items that I tried that they just didn't have my size in stock at that store, which is, I don't think is a point against them. It was just like, I scanned it, I liked it. They didn't have my size. Moving on, it was things like that. Another thing I noticed when I was on the floor is that all of the pieces that they have for display for you to touch and feel and see if you liked it were all size mediums, at least as far as I could tell in the women's section. Not a point for or a point against, just something I wanted to note. As I was looking around, there was a bunch of brands I recognized and a bunch of brands I didn't recognize. And a bunch of the brands I didn't recognize were kind of mixed in with like the Y2K, Feminine Boss, or like things like that. They had names for a bunch of their style selections. And so there was different clothing mixed in, like night out tops and things like that, which was just all mesh tops, which I did think was interesting. But I was wondering, I was like, okay, well, who's picking these styles that are in the store? Who's picking these brands? Are the brands applying? All of that. Because again, like I said, tons of brands and tons of shops make up Amazon. So who chooses which brands end up in the Amazon style store? Is it based on number of orders on Amazon? Is it based on applying? Like certain brands I understand, Adidas, Champion, they're big brands regardless. They're going to probably end up there. But there's a bunch of other higher end brands that I'd never heard of. And so I asked the one person, I said, hi, I wanted to ask like what goes into like which brands are selected for the store. Like, do they have to apply for it? And I don't think she understood what I was saying because she was just like, yeah, no, we have these brands and then there's those brands and then these brands over here. And I just don't think she understood my question. And so I clarified and I was like, okay, but who chooses which brands are in the store? Because I know Amazon has a ton of brands on their site. Here we have Theory, here we have this. And I was like, okay, thank you. I asked another employee. She said, I don't know, but my manager is right here. And I asked the manager. Manager didn't know either. He was like, that's a good question. I know we're going to be swapping them out. We're going to be rotating a lot of brands. And I said, oh, like the items are like the brands themselves. Because I mentioned like I get Adidas is here, I get Champion is here, but like there's some brands here that I've never heard of that are like are they applying to be in the store? Are these brands aware that they're in your store? Are they making the money here? Are you making the money here? Something I completely forgot to ask about, which I meant to ask about and just slipped my mind. Amazon has made a big deal out of their like Amazon style influencer people on their platform. Like if you like shop this influencer's wish list or shop this influencer's Amazon store, things like that. However, this is a brick and mortar, and a lot of these influencers have their shops there, but their faces, their names, their styles, are they also making a commission from their items being in that store? Did they approve their photos and their items being in that store? I may reach out to a couple of those influencers. I may just DM them and be like, hi, are you making money from this? I just want to make sure you're getting your bag. Because like one of the items I got, which you'll see, was on one of these influencers displays. And it's like, yeah, if she curated this item and I bought the item, I hope she's getting that affiliate commission, you know? Like, does that make, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but I want to know, like, did they approve it? Did they say, oh yeah, that's great? Or were they just notified, hey, your face is going to be in the store whether you like it or not? But that's a question I would like to know the answer to. As far as the pricing of items, I mean, I don't want to say that there was a drastic difference, but I did feel like there were items that were like $20, $25, and then there were items that were like $200. I just think that maybe the pricing range, as far as like what I was looking at versus what I ended up trying on and all that, I feel like that could have been a little more not consistent. I just felt like there should have been like a middle ground. The app notified me that I had a room. So I walked myself upstairs. Someone said, hey, they'll help you here. I said, I'm in room 28. They said, okay, great. Let us know if you have any questions and all of that. I get up to my room. I hit the unlock button on my phone and the room unlocks and I'm allowed inside. Once I went inside, I forgot to lock the door because I'm a freaking idiot, but no one ever came into the room or anything like that. But yeah, I locked the door after I realized I hadn't locked it. Voiceover Amanda here because I don't want a copyright claim for Paramore's Ain't It Fun. Here's the fitting room. As you can see, there's the closet, there's the room, there's the few items they had in the room when I came in. There was also a little shelf, there was a little place to sit if I needed it. Inside the room, they also had pulled a couple of items and put it in there. And then on the screen, it says obviously in Amanda's room, and it shows items that had not been delivered yet and what was in the room, including items I had scanned and items they had chosen for me. The way that the delivery closet works inside the fitting room is that there's two doors on the side of the closet, one on my side, one on the storeroom side. And when you opened up my side, that door locked, and it would let me know that by the light being red on my door. So I could take things out of there, put things in there. I didn't try putting anything in there to see what they would do. They told me that anything I didn't want to just leave in the room. But then if they opened up their door, my side of the door locked and the light was on, so they would let me know. And then once they closed it, and I'm assuming they hit a button or something to let me know they were done, the room itself would light up and it would let me know that the items that I had requested had been delivered or different sizes or whatever. And so I do think that's very smart because that's safety both for me as the person in the fitting room and also safety for the employees and the people working there so that I'm not going in there and being like, where's my shit? And trying to fight people, you know, like I think that's a smart design, frankly. As far as the overall setup, I mean, I could have checked out from my room. I don't know why the overall thought of like the app of Amazon knowing my location overall. I don't think I liked that. You know, it was very weird. Obviously they know who's in every single room because my room was assigned to me. So it was very odd to have someone knock on my door whose voice I had not heard because they'd swapped out to be like, hey Amanda, are you doing okay? When I hadn't spoken to that person. That did freak me out a little bit, but that's just me being an anxious mess. I don't think that's like a design flaw in general. Not surprising that stressed me out, but it's just something I wanted to share. Like, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Not that it's not a bad thing. That's customer service. That's the same thing of like, hi, are you doing okay? Do you need anything? But just them knowing my name when knowing I hadn't spoken to that person was very odd to me. And that's just me needing to get adapted to probably the future of everything because I do think that things like this are going to become more commonplace. Only one of the items I would say were like in bad shape. One of the sweaters that they had picked out for me that I had not selected for myself had the sleeve was kind of torn. As far as I can tell, the items that I kept, the items that I bought two of the items that I tried on. They're in pretty good shape. The jacket I did notice has a couple of little micro, like not tears, but like maybe little scrapes, which in faux leather, you got to kind of be on top of that because that's how they kind of can start like drying and flaking off and cracking. It's not enough where I'm like, I'm gonna go return this item, because I do still like the jacket. As you saw, I really like the jacket. It's a very comfortable jacket, but it's just something where it's like, yeah, what's the storage situation like for the items? Obviously, I couldn't see the storeroom, so I don't know how you're storing things. And I'm hoping that not everything is stored in like plastic or anything like that. Some of the items I was given were on hangers. Some of the items I was given were folded, which for sweaters makes sense. Makes sense to fold those and hand those over. One of the dresses was folded, which I thought was interesting. The dress that I really liked that I didn't end up getting, because I was just like, $200. I'm not sure how I feel about this dress, if I'm going to be able to wear it enough, because I'm very into cost per wear lately. The jacket, I know I'll wear that a lot. The shoes I weren't sure about, and the quality of the shoes and the storage of the shoes for the boots that I liked. I wasn't liking how the material was already warping from just being inside the box. Again, this is a fairly new store, but I could tell that there was no makeup marks or overall like tears from, say, other people trying on items. Again, new store. Over time, I'm sure that'll change. I will say as well, the app was very slow while I was in the store. I was not on their Wi-Fi or on anyone's Wi-Fi. It was just the app was going very slow. And I don't know if it's because a lot of people were in the store and a lot of people were on the app. I was able to pay from my phone, from my Amazon account. I did like this. It's a tote bag. I think that's fun. Amazon style. It's a little scuffed up. I don't know how that happened. Really don't know how that happened. I don't think it was them. I think I probably set it down somewhere or something. Shirt's nice. Like I said, no makeup marks or anything like that. Yeah, like just a simple basic shirt that I know I'll wear a lot because of business casual and things like that. I can dress that up with skirts, pants, a blazer, a jacket. It'll look cute. I'll be adorable. So when I first got there was actually, I'm assuming, someone from Amazon corporate or someone in charge of Amazon style was actually there talking with the manager and talking with the other sales associates. I heard things like, so how many of them have headsets? And say this person says they need a blue dress. Someone needs to stay with them while someone else goes and tries to find the blue dress to try and get them to buy other things. It's like, it's retail. I did that. I know the thing. It's upcharging. So something about retail that I do think is interesting is I believe the statistic is 20% more or $12 more. But there is a statistic that when you are shopping, if you have a bag or a cart, you statistically end up usually spending more money. Because you don't have to carry as much, so you don't realize how much you're getting until you check out or try things on and things like that. That's why when you go to Sephora, you go to various stops, it's partially so that they can keep track of you not holding things, but it's also statistically because you're likely to spend more money when you do that. So with this, obviously, I'm just kind of scanning things. So I guess hypothetically, your phone is your cart. You're just scanning things to try things on. You don't realize how many things you're trying on. I wonder if they would cap it. In total, I think I had 12 items in my room at one time, but I wonder if they would cap it at was it 6 or 7 items, 7 or 8 items that I had scanned before it was like, hey, do you still want a room? Or like, I'm trying to think, it was probably 7 or 8 items. I want to know if I tried to scan 25 items, would they still let me get those all in my room, or would they make me shuffle them out? Like, 7 things at a time. Obviously, they're going to know everything that's in the room. And so if I did try to steal something, they would know. They would be able to figure it out because of the items that I took and what ended up getting checked out. And basically, when you're done with the room, you take what you want and you leave what you don't want. So the 2 items I took, and I left everything else in the room. Like I said, there was a lot of sales associates here. Obviously, I'm assuming that's just because this is still a fairly new store. I'm sure they'll probably cut down that number. This is probably not an issue of theft within the store itself. Like they'd probably have a very low loss prevention threshold because, like, obviously all the items on the floor are mediums. They're all tagged. And there's only one of everything. So as far as like, when I worked retail, I worked at a baby and kids clothes store. I don't want to say the brands because I don't want to it's been years, but still. It was a popular brand, but we went from the one brand to expanding to both brands. When we relocated and expanded to both brands at my location, our shoplifting issues, they tripled. Like our instances of shoplifting tripled when we went to the wider range because there was a higher resale value on pretty much the other brand that we had expanded to. Like crews of people would come in to steal things en masse. Like that's what we were dealing with. There's a resale value in that because they would grab 6 or 7 of every single item when they could do that. And they would bring it literally, like groups of people would come in, one person would be the lookout, and they would just clear out like whole sections of the store because they could. Because we didn't have a chase policy. I was 5'2" and 19. What the fuck was I gonna do? I wasn't getting paid enough to do anything. What was I gonna do? Other than, hi, do you need me to bring that up for you? Again, that was for resale value. One medium there's not really a lot of resale value in that, even if you got it for free 99, you know, like, so the shoplifting element here, I guess this kind of, I don't want to say erases it, but it pretty much does erase it, because even anyone who's going in with the goal of shoplifting isn't going to want to log into the app and have that there, your location, your name, if you use a friend's account, same thing. I think the overall benefit of this is like it discourages shoplifting from a business standpoint. That's really it. Again, I did find this very overwhelming and underwhelming because they have a lot of pieces. A lot of it was very much the same items, very basics, and then lots of patterns. And that was really it. The items that I really got the most out of looking through were the smaller collections from the brand themselves. So like looking at the champion items, like the dress that I found, like I liked looking through that whole little setup that they had with the 2 or 3 like luxury women's brands and things like that weren't luxury, but just higher end, more expensive pieces, capsule, little collections and things like that. I do think that's smarter to have it like that and kind of set it up like a Macy's, where it's like, here's the one brand, here's the section, versus here's gothic whimsy or whatever it was that they called it. Shopping by style, I don't think worked out because I felt like it was very limiting for the shopper themselves. It could just be me, but I'm sharing my experience. Got my items, walked on out. As I was leaving, the girl that was at the exit was like, "Hi, you time for a quick survey?" I said, "Sure, why not?" Because obviously I'm reviewing the experience. They didn't ask me why I was shopping or anything like that. If they had asked me, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, no, I wanted to review it." They didn't ask me what I was looking for or why I was shopping for anything like that. So I didn't tell them. And so they asked me if I bought something. I did. I had my bag. And then they asked the question they always ask, which, how likely are you to recommend this to someone else, to a friend? And I said, "Ooh, I don't know, because I don't know if I'm going to come back." And she was like, "Oh, okay." I felt bad because she was like, "This is going to be a quick little survey." And then I'm annoying. So I over-explained every single answer I had to her. That's not her job to deal with me. It's not. I'm sorry. I just said, my style isn't like what was here. And like, I was talking about how like, I feel like a lot of the influencer fashion style right now is a lot of business casual inspired looks or adjacent looks. And so that's why we have a lot of items that are like neon, floral, and then more established older women. Like that was like the style range for a lot of the women's pieces. There's like a gap in there. And I don't know. I said to her, I was like, I don't know how to explain the gap. I just felt like there was an odd disconnect between like the various styles for like the amount of people you're trying to appeal to the store with. Cause it's a fairly small store for, women's, men's, athleisure, and then accessories and various other items in there. There was a whole jewelry selection, which with a brand that I was like, "Oh, this is nice." Like, I wonder if I could have tried the earrings on. I probably could have. I did ask, I said, "Yeah, I thought it was interesting that you guys opened this now because I know you guys just shut down your bookstores." And she went, "Yeah," and then went on to the next question, which isn't that funny because I know she can't talk. I'm sure she can't talk about it, or she doesn't know. Maybe she doesn't know. Maybe she was just hired and it was just like, "Yeah, we're not talking about this," which is fine. I get it. I'm just annoying and I feel the need to ask these questions. The only question that I couldn't get answered that I do think was a very basic question that the manager at least should have been able to answer was, how do the brands that are chosen for the store get chosen? I don't think that's a difficult question to answer, especially for, my assumption is that who they applied, they requested, they were selected, or it was based off of highest volume of sales or something like that. That's my assumption. I just would like an answer to that. I don't think that's a difficult question because, maybe this is going to be an insanely good thing for not Amazon, but for the stores that are being sold there. I really want to know what's the profit split for the items being sold in the store. Like, is Amazon getting more because it's their store? Is the individual sellers getting more because it's their items, their pricing? What if these brands didn't ask to be in the store, but then Amazon is deciding they're going to take the majority of the sales for it being in their store? These are things that I think needs to be, I'm curious about. Say a smaller indie brand is being sold in the store. I want to support the smaller indie brand, even if they're only selling through Amazon. I want to know that the money is going to the smaller indie brand more so than it's going to Amazon. I would hope that Amazon is taking a smaller cut, but if that's not the case with the in-person store, then why would I buy from the in-person store? I would just be like, okay, I'll try it on here and then I'll go online or I'll order from them directly. There's things that as a consumer, as a shopper, I would like to know. Overall, would I go back? I would want to see how they change throughout the seasons. I know we're kind of in a spring-summer season right now. And also it's boiling hot here in LA. It's not pleasant. So I would like to see how this goes, but I probably wouldn't do it again for several months. They didn't tell me how often it was going to be shipped. I said, oh, like how often? Like weekly, daily? And they said, oh, often. A month from now, every Tuesday, next season, I don't know. Like I like the fitting room experience, but as far as selecting items and then also their items that they picked for me, I wasn't a super big fan of. From the style selection, I said I liked this one black shirt outfit, and then I liked these one pair of jean shorts, and I feel like they latched onto that and didn't let go. A lot of the items they started recommending me were all black shirts or black tops, which is fine, but a variety would be nice when we're trying to like try different things on and you're trying to get me to buy things. You really want me to, you think that I'm gonna buy a bunch of black t-shirts from you when I'm at an Amazon store trying things on. Like, I don't know, I just feel like that's a time to upsell, and that's just an algorithm issue. It's a recommendations issue. It's not necessarily, I don't think there's a stylist sitting there pulling out outfits. I think it's an algorithm. And then they kept recommending me jeans, and I never scanned jeans or tried jeans. I didn't even try the jeans on. I need to be in the headspace for jeans. I need to be able to, put my sensibilities on the line. I need to be able to check my ego at the door and what I think about my ass. I need to be able to set that aside so I can be emotionally stable enough to try on jeans for the purpose of buying jeans, Jean shopping is a taxing task, and I need to be ready for it. And I was not ready for it. So I didn't even try on the jeans that they brought me. I was like, this is not this. I don't like that. I don't even buy jeans online. I don't take the risk. There were a lot of items that I saw where I was like, this is cute. And then I went and touched the material and I was like, oh, this is like really cheap fabric, or this is cheaply made. If I'm going to spend money, I would like for it to be quality. I don't like things that look and feel cheap. That's just a personal preference for myself. And there was a lot of items that I was like, oh, this is cute. And then I went and felt it, or I touched it, or I saw it up even 5 feet closer. And I was like, ooh, no. Would you go to the store? Would you like Amazon knowing exactly where you are in the store? I don't think they knew exactly where I was in the store, but they knew when I would scan an item. So I'm assuming there's some algorithm tracking my pings of which items I scanned, because that would just make sense for them for store setup wise in the future. It would make sense for them to know which items exactly are being scanned more often than not and which areas are being visited more often than not, things like that. But what do you think? Let me know. Comment down below. Reminder, I have a podcast, the Swell Shenanigans Podcast. New episodes every Wednesday. Reminder, I have merch like that mug back there that my camera keeps trying to focus on. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you also like support my Patreon, that'll be listed down below. If you'd like to follow me on social media, that'll be all up here. And that's going to be it. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. As far as a experience-wise for shopping, I do think this is more ideal for the business to prevent potential shoplifting from a brick and mortar. I don't know how conducive this is to the shopping experience for a consumer. Thank you, Audrey, Alan, Cameron, Christopher, Chris, Crash PC, China, Dirty One, Don, Elliot, Evan, Feckless, Eric, Hopeless, Incognito, Jekka Ray, Joe, John M, Jordan, Joseph, Kenny, Kim, Kristen, Lamb, Lex, Lisa, Luis, Matt O, Matthew S, Meme Lord, Michael, Michael J, Micah, Nathan, Nathaniel, Pat, Penn, Richard, Rob, Red, Robert, Ross, Sam, Serena, Skylar, Simon, Tasha, Timmy, Tom, Wendy, Williams, Endry.